Killer. All right. This is EE452. We're doing another interview for the MLB win probability model. We got David here. If I'm correct, you're a coach, right, for baseball?
You correct. Yeah, I'm a manager for a minor league baseball team, indie team up in the Bay Area, and then I coach for San Diego State. I coach for Francis Parker, the high school, the private school down here, and I also coach for the San Diego Show, the travel ball team.
Cool. Also, I
Yeah.
read that you're a veteran. Thank you
Yes.
for your service, man.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned earlier, we're making an AI system that does win probability and gives us the 10 best players. Now, once you hear that, what do you expect this program to do? You can get specific if you wanted to. On like, if you heard about like a program such as this degree, what do you expect it to give you in regards to results?
Just feedback, stat feedback, what they've been doing the last couple of years, whether it's present time or in past seasons, kind of a breakdown of how they compare to not only players, in the modern era, but also kind of compare them to players in the past era as well. So I think that's something that I would kind of, take a look at, be like, oh yeah, well look at how they compare, against, this player that has played like in the 20s or played in the, 1800s or whatnot. So I think it'd be pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, because we made a program that goes far back as 1884, which is the start of MLB.
Yeah.
um, it's sort of funny some of the reactions you get from using older information. If you don't know, data acquisition back then wasn't appropriate or like 100% correct.
Hmm.
So if you were to compare like older players with newer players, like I think we did an Otani versus Babe Ruth situation, and we saw Babe
Hmm.
Ruth win. Um,
Hmm.
I've been told Otani's a little bit better than Babe Ruth, but I'm not a baseball fanatic. But point being is that we got old information that doesn't work 100% just because of the way they were acquiring data. But
Right.
anyways, so what we have is that um, we sort of took a bunch of statistics from what MLB gives as stats, i.e., being like batting, fielding, and all this other stuff that does what I assume is like offense and defense. Um, and I'm trying to think how will you use these statistics to do uh, winning outcomes.
Hmm.
Once again, I used to play football, and the only thing we think about is like who's running, who's tackling,
Right.
offense and defense. So if you could break down what is the sense of offense and defense to you in your
Can you
game.
hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yo. Oh.
Hello,
Is he
hello?
cutting off? Is he cutting off? Oh no.
Hello?
Hello. It's on your end, I think.
Hello, hello, hello?
Hello. Are you there? Oh, he's cutting off. No.
It cut out. It cut out. What'd you say?
So, yeah, okay, I'll try to summarize what was said. So we're trying to fully understand what would classify as offense and defense in the game of baseball. I used to be a football player, and
Hmm.
we, it's a different ball game, right?
Right.
Guys tackling and whatnot. So if I were to ask you what would be the classification as an offense player and a defense player, what would be the differentiation determination on that end?
Offense, they have a lot of metrics. You got, RBIs. You got home runs. You got, runs scored. On base percentage, power rankings. I mean, it can go on and on and on and on and on as far as offense are concerned. So those comparisons, breakdowns would be good. In season, past season, kind of like what you see on a baseball card.
Okay.
Defensively, you're going to look at how many putouts he has, how many errors does he makes, what's the percentage, you know, um, you know, average play compared to, a play that's kind of out of his reach. Is he going to make that play? Is he, what, what's his first step? What, does he have golden gloves? What's his velocity across the diamond? What's his lateral movement speed? There's just a bunch of it. I think stats are huge. Obviously, baseball nowadays, or the last couple seasons have really, really, really heavy on stats.
Yeah.
But as a manager and coach, and as a ball player myself, um, the instincts and the baseball IQ is something that is kind of, that's kind of what, when I'm recruiting guys for professional baseball, I'm looking at their personalities. I'm looking at their home life. I'm looking at, all these other things like, okay, their stats are good, but, once you get to the professional level, no one really cares about what you did. They want to see what you're doing now, and how you're gonna do with, that 5 to 10,000 fans, booing you, or 20,000 fans, or, how are you going to be on a daily life? Are you neat? Are you squared away? Are you a respectful person? I mean, these are all things that I think people overlook, that I think, especially with stats, like, we can dive deeper in that, like, when did they graduate high school? These are all things that I think are kind of getting overlooked. But yeah, just to go back to that question, those are a little bit of things.
Okay, it's interesting that you brought up upbringings. I would summarize it as like where they're from.
Right.
Do you have do you see a difference when let's say you have a kid that's coming from like a middle class family over a low end family? Do you see a difference in like sportsmanship at that end?
Yeah, what's crazy is, to be completely honest with you, the softest guys that I've ever coached, the softest guys, are all Division One guys. Those are the
Right.
softest guys I've ever coached.
Right
Like,
on.
meaning, like, not the grittiest, not the, and, like, in college, like, there's guys that I've interviewed, say for example at USC or UCLA, whatever,
Yeah.
and they'd rather, because of the NIL, the money deal,
Yeah.
they'd rather stay playing college baseball than play professional baseball. I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, dude, this is your opportunity to be a professional. I was like, I never said stop going to school. Like, continue to go to school, but if that's what you choose to do. But this is an opportunity for you to become a professional baseball player, and work
Yeah.
your way up the ranks, because I mean, it's getting younger and younger. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I mean, but the difference, yeah, I mean, as far as, I see, like, middle class guys and guys that are lower class are a lot more hungrier. I think that the Division One guys, or the upper class, they've had a lot of, opportunity. So they've had the trainers, they had this, that, and the other. But when it comes down to it, on the level playing field, once you get to professional baseball, I've seen a kid that just got out of high school that's middle class piece up a guy that was a starter at, University of Michigan or Michigan State for all 4 years, and played affiliate ball in Double A. And this
Yeah.
high schooler just dominates him. Just because he's like, I don't care where you came from, I don't care what school you came from, I don't care what you got your degree in. I'm here to win. And those are the guys you look
Definitely.
for. You
That
know,
that's
very rarely you'll get the D1 guy that's humble and, hard worker. I mean, they're all hard workers, but, like, we want grit. You
yeah.
know.
Yeah, definitely. That's interesting you brought that up because when we look for data, right, they don't tell us their backgrounds or whatnot. It's just basically numbers, and this is how they effective are in this range of batting or their game, right?
Right.
So it's interesting that you're saying that their upbringing has a significant impact on how they act on the field and whatnot. We didn't
Oh
account for that
yeah.
in our program either, and we done research on other AI systems and whatnot, right? That does similar stuff as we are, and they do not never account for their background at all. It's just numbers. This is how they effective are in the field for this year, whatnot. So
Yeah, I mean, if you bring sociology in it, and you bring, social economic class, and you start to say, okay, is this kid single parent? I mean, this is all the interview process I have with these athletes. Like, probably about 2 months ago. So there's a Instagram that you can follow. It's called Dublin Leprechauns Baseball. It's my minor league team. It's an indie team, and a lot of people don't even know about indie teams. So the MLB got rid of 110 minor league teams. 110.
jeez, that's a lot,
Yeah,
man.
right. So a lot of those teams became indie teams. So all people know in professional baseball is like, oh, affiliate, affiliate, affiliate. Like, what team are you affiliated with? And I was like, wait a minute, there's indie ball too. And they're like, well, can they actually make it to the MLB? I'm all, yeah. Why don't you ask Miggy Rowe that just won a World Series? Why don't you ask Rich Hill that played in the MLB quite a few times? Why don't you ask Suarez, the closer on the Padres? You know what I mean? And I can go on.
Yeah.
And those are all indie guys that are gritty, hungry. You tell them, hey, you got to sleep on the floor for a week in order to play the game, and you can't eat, 2 days out of the week. They'll do it. Where you get
Yeah.
guys that are, D1 guys, and they're like, well, my college, gave me four helmets and four different uniforms and three different cleats, and we have a spread, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and we have trainers and this, that, and the other. And it's like, okay, you're just arrogant and entitled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
That's interesting that you're saying the sociology has a big impact. That's something we don't account for heavily. So thanks for that input.
absolutely.
So it'd be beneficial, right? To let's say now, if I made an AI system that has also the sociology of the individual themselves, you would think that has a bigger impact on how he would play on the field, right?
Oh, for sure. Is he a alley dog, or is he a dog that's been groomed to be a show dog? Those are two big things that it's like, okay, I want that dog that has to scrap for his food in the alley. That has some skill set, rather than the kid that was trained to be this purebred. You know what I mean? Like, it's a
Yeah.
different sport. Baseball's a lot of mental, so he's got to have the mental psyche as well. I mean, sometimes you'll get kids that are super immature,
Yeah.
that came from lower class. So you got to kind of have to weigh out that difference. So it's my job as a manager of a professional baseball team, which I have an owner, I have a commissioner, I have investors, I have market team, I have all this stuff. My job as the skipper, the field manager on the field, the head coach, you know, as they would say in college or whatever, to kind of sift through the selection process and put a good product on the field that's going to represent the uniform well, that's going to also produce. I mean, that's the thing, is production. I mean, so um, yeah.
Right on. So you see it beneficial to have psychology and AI system. That's cool. But do you feel as if your job would be overtaken if we had a system that does all this psychology breakdown on an AI platform?
No,
Because
I would think it would make the job easier, because if I had a resume of a guy, right? Say for example, you give me some data and I'm looking at it and I go to that section and I say, okay, this guy's upbringing's this, okay, he's got a father in the military, okay, single parent household, father raised him, or he went to this high school, this, and then I look up the high school, then I'd probably get in touch with the coach, and if you had that breakdown too, like a contact point, whether it's email or whatever, and and then we look at the stats. Okay, what's his spin rate? Okay, what's his diet like?
yeah,
Because it's like a if you could compare it to a like a horse. Like, you're looking at the barn, you're looking at the rider, you're looking at what they're feeding the horse, what are they putting in the horse, what is their training? It's the same thing, same exact concept.
right on. Yeah. The biggest fear with AI right now is taking over jobs. You probably heard that already,
Yeah.
as everyone else is, and that's what we do not want to do. We're just trying to aid people with your skill set, and we're gonna give you a system that helps you out a little bit more.
Hmm.
Um, that's the reason why we're doing all these interviews and whatnot, to see how much we can aid, not replace.
Okay.
um, Not even that. AI can go so far. Me and Juhi have done a lot of research on AI, and we can tell you it's not going to take over your job anytime soon.
That's what the big wigs are telling me too. So I do, I didn't put it on the LinkedIn, but so I do private security for all these big wigs.
All right.
Essentially, yeah. So I'm driving them, in the fancy cars and all this other stuff. So I was actually asking, I had AA guys all last week, and I was questioning them, and it was pretty cool. I had a mathematician in my vehicle that works, But so, anyways, yeah,
Right on. No, that's great that you don't feel threatened by AI. That's the big thing right now.
yeah.
The limitation of the neural network is very limiting. So if okay, so with this program, uh, now we're if we add psychology and whatnot, nutrition as well. Um,
Mhm.
can you think of any other ideas that would benefit you and make your job a little bit simpler on hunting for the next man for your
Yeah.
team?
Yeah, I mean, so there's basic stuff, right? You got the basic stuff, right? 60 time velocity across the diamond if they're a position guy, velocity on the mound if they're a pitcher. What do they have in their tool bag? What pitches? What are the speeds of the pitches? Also, diet. How does this kid eat? How do
Okay.
they eat? What is their sleep patterns? What is their training regimen? Are they, what are they? And you would get this with a general interview, like, okay, what is your workout in season? What is your workout off season? Um, and then, give them a random question. So when I did scouting, which I didn't put on my LinkedIn as well, we would go to the houses and we would even interview the younger siblings
Right on.
because, and we would pass on a guy. For example, we would say, "Oh, can I talk to you? Can I talk? Is there any way I can talk to your little sister?" And they're like, "What? I thought you were recruiting my son." I was like, "Yeah, yeah. Can I talk to your little sister?" So, how's your brother? Oh, he's an asshole. Oh, he doesn't wash the dishes. Oh, he doesn't wash the dog. His room is a mess. I'm like, okay, thank you so much. And then I go over there. Yeah, sorry, bud. We're gonna go ahead and pass on that. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I mean, so video feedback too. Of I'm not trying to say, you know, I'm not trying to say stalk the kid, but as a scout, what we do is, we'll sit there at the stands and we'll watch the kid. If we know which one the kid is, we'll watch him from the locker room to the field to see how he carries himself.
Yeah.
See if he's there early, see if he's there late. Is he, tendencies, tendencies would be a good breakdown. I mean, I'm talking specifics, with the individual. That would help us out a lot. I mean, um, what else? What else? What else? Yeah, like I said, single parent household, how many siblings, um, you know, uh, what's the father and mother's occupation? That's huge.
Yeah.
Were the father and mother, were they athletes? Is there any other athletes in the household? Does the athlete play more than one sport? Um, what else? Height, weight, obviously. What else? What else? What else? Also, like biometrics. That's huge. You know, um, what type of body type is he? Is he endo, meso, or ectomorph? Is he, breaking that down? Kinesiology. Does he have any injuries?
Yeah.
Uh, is he pigeon-toed? Is he goofy-footed? Is he ambidextrous? Does how does his weight fluctuate throughout the year? That's huge. You
Okay.
know. What else? What else? Um, has he traveled? What countries has he been to? And how long has he been there? Because you want a guy that's diverse. You want a guy that's, asking also questions about, pressure as
Yeah.
far as like, how does he, what's his, three simple questions I asked the player because one of my players, I don't know if you researched my minor league team, but I signed the first girl athlete in the entire league history. Her name is Marika Lissix. She's a huge baseball influencer. She worked for this place called Momentum with Trevor Bauer and Eric Sims. Are huge baseball influencers online. But this one guy was, um, he was being sexist against her. And so I asked him, he was one of my players
Yeah.
from New Jersey. I asked him, I go, what is the difference between discrimination, racism, and prejudice? And that'd be a good question in stats to see what their answer is because some of them don't even know. You know what I
Right.
mean? And then you're
Yeah.
like, okay, well, this guy's not diverse. Well, I don't want him representing for this professional team because he's not going to know how to, handle a question, press or handle the crowd when they start saying racial slurs to him. I mean, you know,
Jeez.
interesting, right?
Yeah. It's yeah. That's a very interesting. Yeah.
So,
Um. No, because I used to be a jazz guitar player too, and they'll throw some stuff at you. I can't be in the shoes of a baseball player, but as a jazz guitar player, I've been tossing words here and there too. So.
oh man, it's a direct correlation. I mean, I was a jazz saxophone player from fifth grade all the way out throughout college, so I get it. And you're right. I mean, as performers, you'll get stuff, and it's the same. But I mean, like, when you have 5 to 10,000 people saying the N word or
Oh,
saying
yeah,
the
it's a whole
B word
different
or
ball
saying,
game.
yeah, you're just, you know what I mean? Like one of my players, it was crazy. This was in Marysville, California. But if you look up the racism in Marysville, California, or Bakersfield, California, you'll be like, oh my goodness. But 5,000 people, telling my player, yelling, chanting Taco Bell because they're like, you should not be on the field. You should be working at Taco Bell. So 5,000 people, guys up to bat, yelling, Taco Bell. At once, the whole crowd, Taco Bell. I was like, are you kidding me? This is
Jeez.
so racism. This is so racist, you know?
Yeah, and that definitely gets in your mental a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
um. Okay. I mean, all right. So base. Okay. So I'm gonna ask the question of the expected output. So let's say in the imaginary world now that we have all this input, right? That you mentioned. How would you what do you expect the AI to output for you that be beneficial to you? Um, and you already said that mental mental security is one of those situations where you want to know how he thinks.
Well, how he thinks, but also, so there's 9 innings in a game, right?
Yeah.
There's, what is it, 27 outs in a game. So statistics as far as um, in situations like, first inning, what's his percentage rate of getting hits? Or first inning, on the bump, on the mound, like, how's he successful in the first inning? What about second inning if he gets up, statistically throughout his career, so therefore, if I have an iPad, right, and say for example I'm live in the game, and I'm like, shoot, this guy right here is not successful. I
Yeah.
want to scroll through my iPad and be like, okay, what's a guy that's been in this situation, right, with 2 outs, runner on second and third, seventh inning, or eighth inning, with 2 outs, who's more reliable? Okay, Smith's more reliable. Boom, Smith, you're in the game. Get ready, start warming up your bat. You know what I mean? It'll help me
Okay.
out with a strategic, or even on the mound, just like who's in this situation, who's a guy that so have that breakdown as a skipper. Oh man, and I had an iPad, I'd be like, or I know how to implement. I mean,
It'd
like
be
you
game
read, I
over
mean,
for some fellas.
yeah, I mean, I've been in war, so it's these players are arsenal. So what's my best arsenal for this situation?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely. So you're saying the smaller details are significant
Oh, big time.
because most AI systems out there right now do not give the smaller details in a significant way. They're just going to be like, oh, this is, this one guy's good for this offensive moment. You're saying that,
Right.
hey, if we can get to the smaller details, like, hey, I'm really down bad right now with like, let's say you got the bases all full and you're just like, I need one person to finish the job to get these home runs in,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Crazy, right? So when you guys take my information and both you guys become millionaires, don't forget about me, all right?
Yeah.
You guys.
No, it's crazy because you got these other bigger corporations that haven't or they're too afraid to get into the small micro details, and I think it's because it's extremely difficult to have to take the data that there's currently out there and try to get to the smaller details.
Mhm.
There's always the anticipation that the AI system goes rogue and malpredicts. This is a big issue in like medical devices and whatnot, and this is why you don't have robots diagnosing people. Just for your information, because AI
Yeah,
will go
that was
rogue.
the biggest topic. Yeah, that was the biggest topic for this convention down here. Actually, they were talking about that, about molecular cells and you know determining just exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. AI will go rogue, and it's a matter of you finding out how rogue does it go and anticipating how bad it's going to get and trying to come back from it. So the same can apply to baseball micro details like you wanting the smaller details, right? It can give you the wrong smaller details, and you're like, oh, what's the whole purpose of using this thing now? So,
Right. Right.
um,
Exactly. Right. I
yeah,
mean, God, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something good to you too. Yeah, I mean, it's just huge. Getting those details are huge.
yeah, um, yeah. That's the biggest fear. It it we call it hallucinations. It happens rampantly when you give more finer details to AI. It just
Oh wow.
hallucinates and it gives you random stuff.
Jeez.
So that's why this is also why we tell a lot of people AI is not taking your job. If it does, it's gonna hallucinate its way out, and it's eventually gonna get fired.
That's
So,
so funny.
but yeah. So when it comes to results, you want the smaller details. Is there anything else specifically? Does the bigger details, like let's say, you're in like a certain inning, there's weather conditions occurring. Like let's say you got rain.
Yeah.
Um, does those details help you in any way? The
Oh
bigger
yeah.
details now. Okay.
Oh yeah. That I mean, weather plays a big huge part. Um, Also, bat size, equipment's huge too. It's like, okay, what kind of bat is this guy using? Is he using Mizuno, Louisville, Rawlings? Where's the sweet spot? I mean, those are micro details that you're as a manager that's been around the game for a long time. I've been around the game for a very long time.
Yeah.
Those all take apart. How's his play coverage? How's he on this pitch down and away? How's he do with an inside pitch? Okay, this pitcher is a guy that's got a slider in his arsenal. My hitter, how's his percentage hitting sliders? You know what I mean? Because that's that guy's go-to pitch. Or what's this guy's pitch? What's his comfort pitch? What's the pitch he's comfortable with that he lands mostly? Does he throw mainly fastballs and kind of his out pitches a curveball out? That's all information I need to know. And hey, I'm not an MLB coach. I coach minor league ball, but if they have that in MLB, that's great because that's what we need on the minor league level. That's what will make us more successful.
Definitely. Yeah. Once again, some of these MLB systems that I've seen don't get into those details. They only give you the bigger ones where you get your main players, and they're like, okay, this player at this moment is the ideal way to go. So it's interesting that you say the smaller details also matter. I sort of assumed that it didn't. But then I'm not a baseball player, right? The
Yeah,
closest thing I've
huge.
done to sports is probably like Muay Thai, kickboxing, and like football for like a hot minute. That's all I've done when it comes to sports. So it's a different world when it comes to baseball, apparently.
Oh yeah, baseball. So I always tell people this, and I always tell my players this. And I'm a huge, 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 huge chess player. I was like, if you don't love chess, then you're not going to love baseball. If you don't know how to play chess and you're playing baseball, then you're playing checkers, you're not going to be successful. Learn to play chess because baseball is chess in motion. That's all it is.
Killer. That's one way
Yeah.
to put it. Yeah. Based on what I've seen, that's one way to put it. Yep.
So you got to know who your rooks are. You got to know who your bishops are, your pawns, your kings, your queens. You got to understand the smaller parts of it. Who are you going against? And I'm telling you right now, there's not a lot of baseball guys that I've seen in all of my years. I mean, I've been coaching since 2009 on the high school level and above, and there's not too many guys on the opposite side of the field that think the way I do, and that's why I don't want to say I'm hated, but a lot of coaches they don't like my technique and style of play because if a guy can't cover a bunt, I will bunt 10 times in a row.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because that's the kind of guy I am. Like, if I'm gonna get you with my bishop, then I'm gonna use my bishop all day long.
Definitely.
Or you know
Definitely.
what I mean? That's just the kind of competitor I am. I put salt in the wound.
Right
You
on.
know,
Yeah.
so
That's one way to do it. Yeah. I think we got all the information we need. The interview didn't go as planned. I think you gave us a lot more information that's viable, for sure.
awesome.
Cause
And you guys
we
can go ahead.
we just think we just thought that that the bigger details matter. Just like what the MLB gives us. Cause we're under this assumption because it's a big corporation. It's like, oh, they know what they're doing, but apparently they do not know what they're doing tech wise.
Yeah, I mean, the smaller to me is more for me. I mean, but see, you got to remember, I'm like the only guy that's probably in professional sports that's a combat veteran. My job was, as you read, was things that go boom. So,
Yeah.
the way that we do it and break things down, it's huge. It's very important. I mean, the small details. So, I mean, if you look at my team, even if you go on Instagram, I mean, the color coordination and you compare the other teams compared to me, I mean, their uniform has to be tight. The way that they do things have to be tight, and so that's where a lot of players like that, and a lot
Yeah.
of players want to play for me. But a lot of players are like, no way, man, that's too micromanaging. That's too, and it's like, well, I mean, if you want to make it to the big leagues, you got to be squared away. So,
Definitely. Definitely. Drew, you have any questions or what's going on?
No, I think I'm good. I love how he gave us a whole different perspective, of like thinking things.
Yeah.
Because,
Definitely gonna
like,
correct some ends after
yeah,
this.
for sure. Because he really like gave us the things in depth. That's really good. Thank you so much.
absolutely, and like I said, you guys, whenever you need me, I'm here. And if you guys are in San Diego, whatever, at San Diego State, let me know too. So.
For sure.
For sure. You coach out San Diego State?
Yeah, I'm the head club coach there.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I have a buddy who went there for like a hot minute for his degree. He said it was a pretty good spot.
Oh yeah, San Diego's a good. Where are you guys from originally?
I'm from LA.
Oh, okay.
I've been born, not born in LA. I was born in Wisconsin, and then I came over when I was like 11, 10, and ever since then I've been in LA. Um, and I
Nice.
did
Nice.
undergrad at Long Beach State, and
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
now I'm over
Dirtbag,
here at
dirtbag.
USC. Dirtbag, yeah, yeah. Can't say that anymore though. It's controversial.
Oh,
It's
is it?
sharks
Is it?
now. Yeah,
What are they called now?
sharks.
Oh my goodness, are you serious?
Yeah.
What? Oh
I
man.
prefer dirtbag myself, and I'm Mexican American. It was controversial because it was like a Mexican American like racial slur apparently, and they're like, you
Oh
can't use
wow.
that. I'm like, hey
Wow.
man, I'm a Latino myself, and I don't mind it. But
That's wild. And where are you from?
I'm from India,
Oh,
so born
nice.
and brought up India, and then came here for my masters.
So my roommate, she was from India, and my instructor, I think you read I was a holistic health practitioner too, but I specialize in cranial sacral therapy. But his name was Prana. He was, life energy. But yeah, so I was actually my graduation when I graduated. I was actually going to go to India, and because when I was in school, they were like saying, "Oh, what's the weirdest thing or skill set, that you have?" And I was like, "Oh, when I close my eyes, sometimes when I look at people, I can see colors." And I had no idea. And they're like, "That's called auras, right?" And I'm like, "What?" And it was like, "Yeah, there's people that
Oh.
are in India that are practicing that to try to get that skill." I was like, "Oh, I didn't know." I used to get teased because I used to talk to people like, "Oh yeah, you're kind of like a plume of blue or a plume of
That's
orange," or isn't
great.
that wild?
Wow, this is crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's what probably helped me be successful when I was in combat looking for bombs. 'Cause I'm like, oh yeah, there's a bomb right there. Or there's a person, you know what I mean? Like, so that's what I did. So,
jeez, all right, man.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Anyways,
Braylon, thank you for your time, man. I appreciate it,
absolutely.
man.
Thank you so much.
I
Well,
appreciate both of you, and I wish you guys the best in your studies.
killer. Same to you in your baseball game, the minor leagues, man.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
All right, I'll catch
You
you later.
too.
Okay,
Bye.
bye bye.
All right, I'm gonna
Did we
stop
get
the
it?
recording. I
Done.
almost